Hold on to your butt.
It's us! Hold on to your butts! Was that good?
That was all right.
Okay.
It's kind of scared me a little bit. I was looking down. I wasn't prepared.
That was a dry run. Yeah, I have never tried a Mario impression before, and maybe I should or shouldn't moving forward. But there you have it.
I like it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hold On to Your Butts reaction show for the Nintendo Live event. What was it called?
It was the Nintendo Spotlight.
Nintendo Spotlight
E3
event
Spotlight.
For E3 2017. You've got Brogan and Buddy here to give you our reactions to Nintendo's show. First of all, fuck, they nailed it.
Yeah, it was really good. They delivered.
So, I mean, like, overall, like, what were your gut reactions to the show, Buddy? What were, before we kind of dig into the specifics, just overall the presentation, the sort of way that Nintendo approaches it is a bit different than the other guys, than the other Microsoft and Sony guys, even Bethesda and Ubisoft and EA were the main press conferences. Nintendo opts to do sort of a Nintendo, like, in the style of their Nintendo Directs, where they just sort of release it online. So, overall, what did you think of the presentation?
I like the presentation format, like, just because they kind of get all the announcements out of the way, and then after that they do the treehouse, today, the next day, and I think a third day even, and kind of show off the games that they announce. So they don't spend a lot of time on gameplay, and the main thing they kind of say, hey, here's what we have to offer, here's some new things, some surprises, and then they actually go into it and get into more details about, how it all works.
Yeah, I'm going to adjust my mic so I can kind of, like, actually look at you while we talk. There we go. Okay, so I think, if my gut reaction to it is that I always sort of appreciate that Nintendo focuses solely on their games. There's a little bit of Nintendo wackiness in their E3 briefings, but it's always only about 25 minutes. As much as I like the other shows, there's a lot of filler, and as much as I'm going to kind of contradict this, I'm sure, because as much as I really enjoy, like, PlayStation's theatricality and their press conference and Microsoft's, really big set piece and stuff like that, I mean, think about how much money those things cost to put on, right? I mean, obviously, a drop in the bucket for any of these companies, but I mean, still, where it's less about, like, the pomp and circumstance of E3 and more about, hey, these are some awesome games that are coming your way. And also, I think, like, the biggest reaction that I'm taking away from this is, like, more so than in years past, I think Nintendo, like, had some genuine surprises. Mm-hmm. Like, they normally play it pretty safe on this, and they normally, like, play it pretty, lay it out there before E3 and let you know, hey, these are these are the games we're going to show you. And to a large extent, that's what we saw. But there were definitely some really, really big name surprises.
Yeah, there were things I expected going in, like Mario Odyssey news. They said that would be there. Some new Fire Emblem news, maybe a little bit of Pokemon news and stuff, but they definitely blew it out of the park because there were quite a few surprises.
Yeah, so let's just dig right into it. Spoilers if you haven't watched it, but I'm sure you've seen a ton of news online already about it. Happened this morning. We're recording this show a little bit later, and I'm sure it'll be online later tonight, the Tuesday that the press conference actually aired. If you're listening to it tomorrow, I'm sure you've heard all of this, but fair spoiler warning. A couple of the big surprises, the really, like, lose your shit moments for Nintendo, they actually announced a new mainline Metroid game, a Metroid Prime 4. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was a title screen only, which I'm sure that'll garner a lot of hate from other fanboy communities out there that, it's just a name. But, the fact that they announced Metroid Prime 4 alone is a huge, huge, huge deal for Nintendo.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you played all three of the other ones?
Yeah, no, I don't even think so. I know that I played the Metroid Prime that was on GameCube back in the day, which I think a lot of people talk about as, like, one of the bigger name Metroid Primes. What were the other ones? I mean, fill me in. I'm not even really sure.
Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, thanks, buddy, you dick. But, where were they playable on?
Oh, geez, that's a good question. I think 2 was also on the GameCube. I think 3 was on the Wii, I want to say.
Yeah.
We're not.
3 was on the Wii?
It's funny that we're talking about the Wii and there's that liquid noise in the background.
Yes. To be clear, we do have a studio audience. I'm going to unmute you guys here for a second. We've got Blev.
What's up?
And Kendall is joining us as well. Yes, my wife, the Nintendo fan, is also going to be chiming in here. Now, Kendall and Blev, you guys have not seen this briefing yet, right?
Nope,
We've
not
got
at
it.
all.
We've got it on in the background here on mute on replay, and it's like super horrible quality, and it's really like janky and freezing. So, for all of you, that's a really riveting thing to talk about in our audio podcast.
But anyways, Metroid Prime 1, 2, 3. I haven't played them all either. I've played 1. I'm halfway through 2. I own them all. They're just kind of on my back burner. Never got to them. That being said, I'm really excited about number 4, especially for the Switch, because you can play it on the go, so it'll be awesome.
Yep, and that's kind of the way that I feel about all these games. Before we even go into a little bit more of the games that were announced, the thing that I've really been wanting is more games to play on my Switch. Now, I know that sounds like super general, but I just like holding it so much. I like playing it. We're pretty much done with Zelda. I mean, Kendall and I have like one, the final boss to beat, essentially. Yeah.
We're not done.
I know. We're not like 100%ing the game.
We have found 62 of 120 shrines.
That's true. We're not even close to done.
Barely half.
I've kind of been lying to everybody that we've gotten way more shrines than that, so if you could just play along, that'd be awesome. Anyways, there's plenty more reasons to be excited to be a Switch owner now after this. Now, they also announced a mainline Pokemon game coming to Switch. Now, I'm not a huge Pokemon fan. I don't know about you. Are you, Buddy, a Pokemon fan?
I don't think I've played any of the old ones.
Yeah, Kendall,
No.
you're a Pokemon fan?
Pokemon Snap.
Oh, it's not
Snap.
Pokemon Snap. It's like the classic
Love
old...
Well,
Pokemon
they didn't even
Snap.
say that.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
said Pokemon RPG. They didn't even say necessarily.
See, that sounds
like-
like fun too.
Could be different. Could be different.
Yep, so it's
How
like...
can anybody that has played Pokemon Snap not like Pokemon?
No, Pokemon Snap is an amazing game. Yeah, so I should clarify. I'm not a Pokemon fan, but I'm a huge fan of Pokemon Snap. That game was fantastic. I was really kind of hoping like my lose my shit moment would have been like a sequel to Pokemon Snap. Like that would have been insane. Am I saying Pokemon weird? Am I
A
really
little
like
bit.
I'm
Pokemon.
really emphasizing the K?
You're a Poke.
So what else, buddy? What else were your big moments from the Nintendo briefing today?
Okay, so not from the Nintendo briefing. It popped up briefly in the briefing, but Ubisoft yesterday announced the Mario crossed with the Rabbids game, which we talked about on here before, and we were skeptical, but it actually looks really good. I'm really excited about it.
What the fuck is it? So it's kind of like... So what I understand... Are you familiar with the game XCOM?
I looked it up after that because people were saying it's like that.
Yeah, so XCOM is like a real big cult classic. The second one came out a couple years ago, I think, and it's been ported to the console and stuff. But it's one of those overhead real-time strategy games where it's all about like chess movement, essentially. Mm-hmm. You move your characters across a battlefield to get in position to, in sort of like a turn-based combat fashion, defeat the other team, which is a lot like Heroes of Might and Magic, the classic game. Yes. Also, now we're seeing on the screen, too, a new Yoshi game did get announced for Switch, which is pretty exciting. I'm going to see if I can fix this fucking stream real quick. Sorry.
But anyways, going back to the Rabbids game before we get on to Yoshi, we'll get there in a minute. It looks like it is basically just like you described, Brogan, but it seems like there's a lot of cool like moves you can do, a lot of strategy involved, and also some exploration pieces, too, which tying the two together seems like it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So... Did you see any of the Ubisoft conference itself, by the way? Did you catch Miyamoto coming out? And
I saw, and they posed with the laser guns and stuff.
It was the most awkward thing that I've seen at an E3 in a long time.
That's why we should do digital events only.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. Because it had the French head of Ubisoft with the Japanese only speaking Miyamoto, like doing this like really scripted interchange, and the whole thing was just super cringeworthy and awkward.
They could have even brought like Bill Trinan, the guy who handed the French guy, or was he the French guy?
Yeah,
the gun. They could have brought him out because he knows Japanese, but that was
very strange, very strange interaction.
That's all right.
Anyways, I think the thing that Nintendo leaned on the most, obviously, in this briefing was Super Mario Odyssey. Sorry. Mm-hmm. Galaxy was the last Mario 3D game. Is that right? Am I saying that
Super
correctly?
Mario... No, you're wrong.
Sunshine next?
Mario 3D World.
3D World. See, I think that's different, though. I think that's like a different style of game, isn't it? Like 3D World was a little bit more like just a 3D version of the classic 2D Mario. I think it's been a while since we've actually got like this open world Mario game.
Yeah, the most recent... Probably like sandbox style Mario game was Sunshine, I think.
Yeah.
Back in GameCube.
Yep. I thought it looked beautiful. I think, from what I can understand about the gameplay for Mario, it's you essentially use your hat to possess objects and other characters and become them, and assuming, use their skills. I saw him throw his hat onto a Bullet Bill, and he became Bullet Bill. The whole trailer actually opened right with a Mario hat on top of a T-Rex. So, I
Which was a total, psych out. Because I thought, this is going to be, some Monster Hunter or, Jurassic Park 6 or something. But no, it was the Mario game, which is really cool.
Yeah, and so I know a lot of people have been talking about how weird it is to see, real life, not real life, but, really hyper-realistic humans, like us in the game, in that New York City, which actually it's not called New York City. It's called New Donk City.
New Donk City, yeah.
New Donk City, which is that's amazing. So one of the worlds, assuming that you play in that game, is called New Donk City. And walking around that are a bunch of NPCs of humans, which Mario threw his hat on, and you can play as a fully realistic human walking around New Donk City, which is kind of creepy for a Mario game, I guess. I don't know.
It's a little it falls in that uncanny valley.
Yeah, which you don't expect to see or hear about in a Mario game.
The cool thing about that New Donk City thing, too, is that, it's based on Donkey Kong, all the street names are after Donkey Kong characters and stuff. But during the trailer, there was somebody singing, and then it shows them on the stage at the end. Did you notice that it was Pauline from, the original Donkey Kong game, the person Mario was trying to save before Peach was even a thing?
Whoa!
So they're bringing back other characters. So I'm interested to see if anybody else will make an appearance too.
That's awesome. I think it is also really, really, really cool and refreshing after this E3, where there's so many games that were announced or we saw gameplay of that aren't coming out until 2018, that we heard that Mario is coming out October 27th, I think, October 27th, 2017. So we don't have a lot longer to wait until the new Mario game comes out.
Too, that Rabbids game we were talking about earlier, that comes out in August. So that's 2 months away.
Yep. So let's get into the discussion. What is our favorite thing that we saw at the Nintendo press conference today? Actually, I think we would be absolutely remiss if we didn't mention Rocket League is now coming to Switch, and it's going to have cross-platform play. Now, you were telling me earlier you don't think...
I thought I had heard maybe not PS4, but I could be wrong. Don't hold that. I was trying to half watch this and half work.
I think I remember... damn career's getting in our way.
Darn job.
I was able to watch this a little bit at work, too. It was conveniently placed at lunch, so at least there was somewhat of a built-in excuse to watch it. I think what's really cool about having this be cross-platform is that we're starting to see the possibility of a bright future for gamers where you don't necessarily... Now, obviously, we're a long way from this, but you don't have to choose a console. You can play on the or you can play on the console that you'd like, but you still get the ability to play with people who are playing on their console of choice. So I think, Rocket League being available, which is a massively popular game, being able to take your Switch with you on the go and connect to Wi-Fi, boot up a game of Rocket League, and you're playing somebody on their Xbox or somebody on their PC is it's a beautiful future for games if that continues,
Yeah, for sure. That'd be awesome.
I think that represents a really big step forward. Also, it feels like the right choice. It feels natural that Rocket League would come to Switch. A party game that you can actually play split screen with. They said that it would be controllable with one half of your Joy-Con too, so you can play with two players. And all the best parts about having a Switch are built into the Rocket League experience now, which I think is great. That's sort of where I'm leaning, I'll be honest with you, for my best in show for Nintendo. Now, I know it's a little weird because it's not a Nintendo exclusive, and it's been around for a while, so I could easily be swayed. But where are you at in terms of your favorite thing that you saw today at the Nintendo briefing?
I'd say even though it's just the title screen, the Metroid Prime 4, reveal is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I didn't expect Mario Odyssey to go that way either, so I really liked that trailer because that's something totally different than what I expected. I was watching a little bit of the Nintendo Treehouse after it, and you can, become a tree, you can become, binoculars. Literally, it's not even just living things, it's anything. You can kind of possess it. So I think there's a lot they can do with that, and I'm excited to see what else is in store.
And we definitely saw more of that to base this opinion off of, right? So I would have a hard time giving Metroid Prime 4 our best in show just because all we saw was the title, right?
Yeah.
Same with
But
Pokemon.
they've been waiting for it for 10 years.
That's true. It's nice to know. Honestly, it's a smart business choice by Nintendo. It's nice to know that if someone's on the fence about buying a Switch, the future is bright. You know, there's great games coming out in a Pokemon mainline game and in a